Hi guys, it's Amanda. I will come and sit in the centre in a moment, but I just wanted you to look at these two paintings before we start our work today. My friend Angie Ricketts has just brought them round and they are for sale. Okay, they're not going to stay in my home. There are not many things that get Metatron off that bit of wall. Okay, not many things are that powerful that can replace him. These could quite happily live here in my room, but I'm not going to keep them because I have no wall space and Metatron wants to go back up there at some point. But look at that. They represent the water elemental. One is female and one is male. I will put Angie's details in the description box below, and they are serious pieces of art, guys. They are huge, and above all else, they need to go to the right home. So these aren't just like a decorative piece. These are pure energy. Well, I've seen them a couple of times already, but I've not had them in my home before. I just can't explain to you how strong the energy is coming off them and how absolutely perfect it is that they've arrived in my house today. And I will just say, because I know not everybody follows me on Facebook, but I want to read to you the post that I put on Facebook today. And then I thought, oh yeah, Angie's paintings are arriving today. Oh, what a surprise. This is what I wrote, guys, okay? Sorry to be sideways on, but I want you to look at the paintings. This is what Metatron said to me today as I was waking up. And to be perfectly honest, I woke up feeling a little bit fragile, a little bit like, oh my God, I just can't do this anymore. I'm being honest with you. Of course, I have managed to let that go, but we all have moments like that, let's be completely honest. This is what Metatron said in response to that way I was feeling today. He says, we are on the crest of one of the biggest waves that is about to come crashing down. Okay, and that's why so many of us are wanting to get off the ride right now, feeling rattled and generally seasick. You are all picking up intuitively what is coming. Long term it's good, short term it may be challenging, but we were born in water, remember that. It is only fear that makes you believe you can't swim, and we will be swimming with the tide, not against it. Tides come crashing down because of a build-up of pressure. Something has to give. It is the natural order of the world. And I'm using here water as an analogy. It doesn't necessarily mean it is a water-based event. I'm really being shown, I was shown a huge wave this morning, and it's as though collectively we are right at the top of the wave, which is why so many of us are like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. This is difficult, this is hard. And it's like this build-up of pressure. And I said to Jenny, and I were talking the other day, Jenny Burak, and we both basically said we just wish whatever is going to happen would happen, which isn't dreaming in anything. It's just like, as sensitives, as empaths, as many of you are, it's like we know something's coming, and it's like, if it's going to happen, let's just get it over with, to be perfectly honest, because this sense of build-up and pressure is unparalleled, and it's really difficult, okay? But it's going to dissipate. So that's what we're going to ask about this morning. I do want to say, just as a heads up, there's loads of you that have responded and written comments. I will just come back into centre now because it's a bit weird speaking to you. Sorry to put my mug in the middle of it all. But anyway, I'll try and sort of sit in the middle so you can see the energies of them as well. There we go. I am a Cancerian as well, so you know, I'm quite happy to sit in the middle of them both. Yeah, lots of you are replying to me. Here we go, Stephanie. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? I had a dream 2 nights ago where I was standing on a pier feeling seasick. I've never felt that in a dream before. This post makes sense of a dream. Thank you. Sue Ellen, I cannot wait to hear what Metatron says. I've been extremely active in my sleep and have been exhausted these last 3 to 4 days. Lots of you are experiencing that. Roller coaster rides. Marilyn, I've recently and intuitively began using cinnamon in my coffee again. It helps with sugar metabolism and mood swings as a possible suggestion for help if we are feeling off balance. Actually, that, as well as any nutritional aspect that cinnamon may have, cinnamon is a scent that we use in the earth spray, interestingly enough. So, not scent, an oil that we use in the earth spray. So you're balancing out the wobbliness of the water with earth, which is good. Somebody else says here, I'm in for the ride, have been feeling the energy build in myself for a few days and have been unleashing it just like Gaia has started to do. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry, don't mean that respectively. Don't mean that disrespectfully, rather. It's more that I'm trying to read through in my head. I'm just going to end here on a comment Barbara has just put up. I dreamt about this wave a couple of weeks ago. It looked like a giant cloud in the sky at first, but then quickly I realised it was a huge, unprecedented mass of moving water. I think, how will I be able to ride this wave? But before I knew it, not only had I overcome the wave, I was walking on top of the water, pulling other people from underneath the surface. Whatever it is, we will make it through and we will be able to help others as well. Thank you, Barbara. That's a beautiful comment and I completely and 100% agree with that. I also want to just say something that I'm just going to read what I've already written because otherwise I'm paraphrasing things I've already said today. This is somebody who was worried about the fact that, you know, this is being brought up today. And this was my reply to that. Where is it? Where is your lovely comment? I'm not going to read your comment out. I'm just going to read my reply to it. Because this is important, okay? Because what I do basically with my spiritual work is I believe that we are a spiritual community of light workers and we're here to serve. So I will often give you messages which link into, you know, your personal lives, try to give assistance on that, absolutely. But I do work very much for the collective energy and I know many of you that are watching me do as well. So somebody was just worried about this message and maybe, I don't know what's actually going to come through in this video, but I want to say this. This is what I said. I said, if the messages disturb you, I'm already being told, so I was already being told by Metatron, that you don't need to listen. I mean that kindly, as it's not about spreading fear. I have a job to do to gather spiritual assistance, and those that are feeling up to that can join me. Others that want time out can have that too, as we are a community that support each other. There are days that I pass the baton on to others also, and that is normal. No one has to sign up for any part of light work that they don't want to do. And it isn't a weakness to take time out. A community of light is exactly that. And the batons are passed all the time between the group. Some days we feel strong and other days we don't, and that's okay. Part of my remit by spirit is to help make sense of the energy for others and myself. And as such, there will always be heads up from times to time, as the energy is never stagnant. It's constantly moving and changing, ebbing and flowing. So be at peace as we hold you, all is well. This is just the natural rhythm of life with its highs and its lows, and nature mirrors that too. Okay, so I wanted to say that because I don't want anybody watching this video going into fear, because that's not the point of it. The point of why I've been shown this is that it's to try and make sense of it and also to offer some practical support. Now, what I firmly feel is that this wave that comes crashing down is political and it is geophysical, okay? So geophysical, I'm talking about earth changes, but I'm also very strongly feeling it is political. It probably very likely links in to the 1st June video that I've already done, where the cards that were pulled showed definite endings, a definite ending to something that was going to bring a wave, a degree of a wave of sorrow into our world, okay? But it's very much about opening up hearts, as these events do, to awaken people who are not already awake, and those of us that are awake, we help support and nurture those that need our help, okay? Even those of us that are awake, of course, the heart has an amazing capacity to be able to open much wider than you ever thought possible. So for all of us, any challenging events that may be to come in are there to help open our hearts wider, okay? So I am going to pull some cards, and I'm just going to see what comes through. If you don't mind, I am just going to finish my coffee there, because I need to. Beauty and the Beast. Who doesn't like a bit of Disney? It's my teenager's mug, actually, and it's lovely because teenagers, as you know, well, my one in particular, you know, she's into, what's she into at the moment? Grime music. Doesn't really mean anything to me, I have to be honest, but anyway, I listen to it daily because it thuds out from her bedroom door. And there's aspects of it that I don't particularly like, if I'm being honest, but you know, she's a typical teenager. She pushes my buttons and is pushing boundaries, but yet she loves her Disney. This is her mug. She'll kill me for saying that. Okay, thank you for allowing me that moment. I will also say, because I've just written some notes down here, I don't know whether this is related or not, but I think it is. My dreams have been rather strange the last few nights. And I posted one talking about, I was shown Metatron's cube within what looked like a UFO type shape. It wasn't the Merkaba, this was different. It was Metatron's cube, it was flat. It was lying flat. I've got one here, there we go. What was that I just threw off? It was lying flat like that, okay? And then it had like this dome sort of shape underneath it and above it. And it was used as something where you can direct positive energy. There was light coming out of it. I talked about that on Facebook. But last night's dream was, again, rather random, but I'm going to talk about it. I feel, this is an analogy, all of these dreams are, that I often get are analogies. It must be to do with anger and frustration, I think, because I saw walls and they were crawling with bugs, okay? Little bugs, horrible little bugs. And I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that flies and bugs in dreams usually imply anger. And then I woke up and I was hearing about this wave that's going to come crashing down, this build-up of pressure. So these bugs all across the wall seem to be about representing frustration and anger, okay, in the collective. And I am part of the collective as well, so I'm not trying to bypass my own part in it, that I might also feel frustrated and angry, but I also know these dreams are collective as well. But the interesting thing about the dream is that these bugs and these flies, they were all over a wall in a huge supermarket, okay? And the point was, people were still being allowed to go into the shop whilst there was all this very negative, yucky energy that could bite you, basically, you know, that these flies could bite you. At the same time, people were being allowed to be in this shop whilst effectively men in suits turned up in tanks with, you know, the protective gear that beekeepers use to go in and eradicate the nuisance, okay? Whatever that energy was that is depicted by the bugs and the flies, which has to be about dark negative energy. So it feels as though it was also a little bit of a warning to just be very careful what situations you allow yourself to be put into, okay? There is a lot of trickster energy around at the moment. There's a lot of negative energy, there's a lot of dark energy. What we don't do is feed it and go into fear mode, But what you don't do is walk in to the supermarket where it is and sort of, in the dream, some people were literally rifling through bags and the wall had sort of been decontaminated, but they were still wanting to look at the bags that were on the wall. And then they put their hand into the bag and they were getting stung. So this is all symbolic, guys, okay? It's to do with, don't do that. Don't go into places where you know there is a lot of darkness coming up. Remember Metatron was saying in June there's a lot of scum that is going to be rising to the surface. He gave the analogy of water and rice, do you remember? And I was saying when you boil brown rice, you can get the layer of scum that comes to the surface. So that's what's going on. The darkness is rising to the surface. So what you don't do is go and swim in the scum, okay? You don't do it. You actually don't go anywhere near the pool where the scum is. Allow spirit to bring up what needs to be brought up and don't get involved in it in that way, okay? You don't need to add to it. You don't need to swim in it. You don't need to be over-analysing it. You just need to know that there is a natural process going on right now in our world where the darkness is coming up, spirit are taking care of it, karma is completing. You don't need, none of us need to be adding our 2 pennies worth the whole time, you know, and wading into it and swimming in it, okay? That's what the dream was about. Seems to be very clear to me. There was something else. What else were you just saying, Metatron? Okay, no, I think that was it. A few other things before I get into whatever channeling is going to come through today, things that have already come through. Who saw that amazing crop circle that's arrived in the UK? Amazing. It shows a 7-pointed star. See if I can get it up on my screen. It's absolutely stunning. It's on cropcircleconnector.com and I'm just being told to bring that in, okay? Let me just see if I can find the picture. Yeah, it's this one. Don't know if there's actually a picture of it though. This is a YouTube video. I don't know if I, oh God, I don't know if I get told off for showing a YouTube video on YouTube. All these blinking rules. 6-penny Handley crop circle. It arrived on the 3rd of June, okay? And Matthew Williams is who you need to look up on YouTube, and he's put a video of it. It is stunning. Just see if we can get into a picture of it. Mate. See, you get an idea. Look at that. Majesty of that. I've been lucky enough to stand in a crop circle, and I tell you what, the energy is extraordinary. I think why I'm showing you that is just that everything is in order, even though it doesn't feel as though it's in order. There is so much going on that we can't see above and below, and Spirit have got this, okay? The one thing I do also want to say though is, remember, we're in Uranus season. So Uranus is the planet of expect the unexpected. A lot of people are assuming they know what the wave is going to be, the way it's going to happen and who is going to be involved. And I'm just being reminded to say to you, remember Uranus is about expect the unexpected. It isn't necessarily going to be the way you think it's going to be. Okay, and why have I written that down? Oh, I've written World War One down. The reason I've written that down, yeah, I'm remembering now, is because in World War One, the generals sent the troops basically to their death, didn't they? Because they were unprepared, they were under-resourced, and it was just the most horrific war to end all wars. That's what they said. What Metatron is saying here, he's not talking about war, he's talking about the times that are coming are not like that. You are not under-resourced, you are not unprepared. The general, let's call Metatron the general, knows what he's doing, okay? The general knows the troops that are on the ground doing the light work in the right places, positioned at the right times to hold the light, and all is well, okay? So it's not like any of us as light workers are going to be put into positions where we are out of our comfort zone and can't do it. We have been well trained through many lifetimes for what is coming, okay? And this isn't one event, by the way, okay? This is just energy that is about the ascension journey, and the ascension journey is about love, it's about light, but it's also about events that wake up the world. And and that has already happened, and it will continue, and it will escalate, okay? In terms of the political things, the political earthquakes, there's two really obvious ones for me which are on the horizon. One, because I'm English, there is the Brexit thing. I'm just calling it the Brexit thing. That's certainly got a very Uranian energy around it, because, you know, yeah, expect the unexpected with that. Nobody actually knows what is going to happen with that. And I bring it up because it obviously links into the EU, it links into Europe. I might pull some cards on it. And the other one, of course, is Donald Trump. Okay. I'm also being told, tied into Trump, the situation with North Korea and South Korea, not meaning to be rude, but they'd actually get on a lot better if it was just left to those two leaders to sort out. That's what I'm very clearly hearing, because I'm still maintaining that the South Korean leader is this man of amazing peace and presence. And I actually feel like the whole world, if the whole world would just back off a bit and let those two, the North Korean and the South Korean leaders, do what needs to be done, I actually think it would happen, peace would maybe come a little bit quicker. But anyway. Right, I'm going to pull some cards now, and I'm going to take some from a very obvious deck, which is I was going to say the Water Tarot. It's the Oceanic Tarot. And the Oceanic Tarot is by Jane Wallace, and it has artwork by Jane Delaford Taylor, who does my paintings, well as Angie, okay? Got paintings everywhere. I have got so many friends who are artists, it's ridiculous. Maybe I'm a frustrated artist. My grandfather was a great artist. He painted landscapes, very beautiful landscapes. Right, what are we asking? Let's just tune in now and see what we're going to ask. I'm going to spray the water, elemental. Shall we ask what the wave concerns? Or energy around the wave? Let's ask about energy around this wave that we are picking up. This large wave, which may well be symbolic. It's an energetic wave that is reaching a peak of pressure. It's very high, it's cresting over, it's about to come down. What is it bringing with it? And there won't just be one answer here, there'll probably be multiple answers. So we are going to ask for 3 cards just to start with, okay? 3 cards to start with. What does this wave concern? I'm going to take the top 3 cards off the deck when I stop shuffling, when I've been told to stop Top 3 cards. What does this wave represent? Okay, stop there. Number 1, partnership. As a bee tries to come into my room. Number 2, the King of Cups. And number 3, heartache. Bottom of the pack, judgment. So, the first message linked into this wave, I'm going to do it 3 times because I feel there's 3 different messages. The first way that this wave may come into your life and show itself and feel itself is linked into partnerships, relationships. You might think that the cards are contradictory, but they're not really. We've got an ending which produces some heartache. But either side of it, we have partnership and we have the King of Cups. I felt for a long time, particularly those of you that are in twin flame situations, maybe with karmic partners, that there will be an ending of relationships that have run their course, that you're not meant to be in any longer, to bring about partnership with your true divine other half, okay? And here we have the King of Cups. So this is the divine, what we call the divine masculine, coming forward with love on a wave of love. It's a very, very obvious, they're very obvious cards to me. Okay, and we have judgment is the thing on the bottom of the pack, which brings that about. A moment of judgment, a moment of clarity, a moment where you make the decision that you might have been needing to make for quite some time, and you walk towards who you're actually meant to be with, or you walk away from who you're not meant to be with, because above all else, the God of the sea, the King of Cups, is wishing to bring partnership in. But it is saying also that the heartache here also feels as though for some people it may be a little bit painful to say goodbye to somebody that they have been with, but the relationship has run its course. But yet within this union, within this new partnership, there is the ability to heal the heartache of the past. Okay, so I'm going to put those cards back into the deck, and I'm going to ask for the second message. Okay, and I'm going to be specific here now. I'm going to ask politically. I'm going to ask about the political situation. If there is a political aspect to this wave, and if so, what does the energy look like? And we'll do the same thing again. We'll take the top 3 cards, please, Metatron. Politically, what does the wave, what's the wave about? Politically, what's this wave about? Stop there. Okay, 3 cards. Conflict, reflection, healing. Bottom of the pack, the Wheel of Fortune and Destiny. Okay, so put the cards up and then I will interpret them. I'll ask Metatron about them. So this is politically. we have conflict, reflection, healing, and the Wheel of Fortune, destiny. So there is something coming in that is very destined, an event that comes in that's very destined, that brings healing in its wake, but comes in on the back of great conflict, causing us all to reflect. That's the story of the cards. Let's see if Metatron can give us some more guidance on that. There are two political figures that I'm seeing in particular, or whose names I'm hearing, and they both begin with the letter T. One is Trump and one is Trudeau. Why am I seeing them? Okay, I have to say what I get given to say by Spirit. I'm not seeing war or anything like that, but I'm being rather sadly shown the next South Korea, North Korea. And by that, what they mean is, have I got the bottle to show you? I need to show this in a colourway so you understand. Let me just grab a dual coloured bottle to try and explain. Have I got it? 35 is what I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for a Calamira's bottle, which is number 35. This isn't quite it, but it's quite close to it in terms of the colours. Bottle number 35 is called The Inner Guide, and I think it is these colours, blue and green basically. And it was made when Melissa Jolly, who created Calamira's, went and did a workshop in South Korea. And those of you that understand energy and how things like colour bottles are made, including my own, realise that when you create something, it holds the energy of obviously what you were intending, but also what was around you at this time. So to give you an example with my bottles, the emerald green, Archangel Metatron emerald green, came about after I did a workshop in Belfast, and Belfast had had all of the troubles and violence for generations after generations. This was before the peace process. And then the peace process happened, and it's a hell of a lot better, okay? The peace process has happened. It's happened and it's held. So this bottle, the emerald green, holds the energy of deep healing where you think something is completely impossible to heal. Very much like the situation in Northern Ireland, no one ever thought it would heal. So this bottle holds the energy of the Emerald Isle. It holds the energy of being able to heal something that seems completely intractable. Bottle number 35 within the Calamira system was when Melissa went to Korea, South Korea, and it holds the energy of two countries who are effectively fighting over resource. They're fighting over, I mean, it's different between Canada and America, but they're fighting over, you know, land, power, whatever, it doesn't matter. So bottle 35 holds the energy of the need to make peace with your neighbour, basically. The need to make peace with your neighbour. The need to realise that there is nothing to fight over. that actually you are unified. You know, the North and South is sort of immaterial, because in terms of the soul, we are all divine, we are all human. It doesn't matter actually really what country you come from. It doesn't actually matter what colour your skin is. It doesn't actually matter what your sexuality is. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. We're actually members of the human race. Okay, we split ourselves up into countries and various other things. So the energy with the bottle 35 is about be at peace with your neighbour, okay? And it came about through the workshop in South Korea, where it was very obvious that there wasn't peace between North and South Korea. And unfortunately, I think I'm seeing Trudeau and Trump, and I do know obviously there's a trade war going off at the moment, but I think that's going to have a lot of ramifications. And unfortunately, that uneasy lack of peace between North and South Korea for very different reasons. You know, I'm not saying there is a dictatorial regime in either Canada or America. It's a totally different scenario. But the lack of peace between two neighbours, we can see that energy. It's almost like it's moving from one side of the world to the other, okay? Unless we stop it, okay? So we have an option. But at the moment, I am actually almost seeing it's like the wave. It's like it's coming from east to west at a time when they're trying to take off that shirt, take off that old identity of always being at war with each other. I know it's still very early days, guys, but don't forget I get shown things here from a much higher perspective. But that's what is being, that is what's trying to happen. They're trying to let go of that identity of being at war with each other, okay? They're throwing it off, and it's almost as though it's being caught, unfortunately, on the other side of the world by two other countries, Canada and America, which is like, okay, we're going to start fighting now. Well, you're not going to start fighting in terms of hands-on combat or anything like that. It's not that type of war. It's just an uneasy alliance. Maybe it's always been uneasy. I don't know enough about the whole Canadian-American politics. I don't need to know. Maybe it's something that's always been there simmering and now is coming up to the boil. It needs to be looked at, guys, okay? So that's the first thing I'm hearing with regard to the political wave that's coming. Let's go back to the cards. Conflict, reflection, destiny and healing. Well, yeah, there is conflict. Trade wars are conflict. Reflection. Maybe it hasn't been thought through. But equally, maybe the world is destined to operate via different trading regulations, standards. I'll give you an example much, much closer to home, taking the heat off Trump and Trudeau for one moment, because, you know, they're just pawns in this. It's just something that is coming up in the collective and they're playing it out for us. In the UK, yesterday, something like 16,000 jobs are being lost. Across the UK, one of our major department stores is getting rid of half of its shops, House of Fraser, including their flagship store on Oxford Street, which is a huge store. You know, it's a good store as well. I have many happy memories of rifling through clothes there and cups of tea. But the point is, half of the shops across the UK are closing. And what it's doing is it's taking massive holes out of town centres. Bournemouth is one. The Bournemouth House of Fraser store is closing. We've also lost the Marks and Spencer's store within the last couple of months. So if you just take my little town of Bournemouth, two of the big department stores have just disappeared. And they've left big gaping holes in the town centre, which, to be honest, no one's rushing to fill. Well, why is that happening? It's happening because the way that people trade, the way that people do business is changing. How many of you are actually shopping in physical stores versus the internet? Most people are shopping online. So businesses are having to change. It's destined. It's destined that we start to, the marketplace itself has to change. Okay, so, but there's going to be conflict before we get to peace with it all, okay? So you can look at it at a very micro level, like something like little old Bournemouth with its two big holes in its town centre, And you can also take it into a much bigger macro level in terms of, for example, trade wars. Canada and America particularly are flagging up here today for whatever reason. I am tempted to look at Brexit now. Shall I do that? Can't not do, really, when we're talking about changes. Let's have a look at good old Brexit. And I'll shuffle on camera, so you're going to see that I'm not giving my own opinion with regard to Brexit. I do have an opinion. Let's just say it didn't go the way I wanted it to. I will actually just say about it, because there's a spiritual perspective behind my decision on that. Not judging anybody that has a different perspective, but my perspective on it was that in a world where we are moving towards, I mean, we're moving at snail's pace, to be honest, guys, but we're moving towards unity consciousness. And we are moving towards an era where countries and nationalities are going to become less important, to be perfectly honest. Good old UK fencing itself in and divorcing itself effectively from one of its main trading partners, i.e. Europe, doesn't really make much spiritual sense to me, okay? That's my spiritual perspective. You know, there may be another perspective which is mental or physical or emotional. That's my spiritual perspective on it, okay? But let's just see now. Let's ask about Brexit. Where are we at? Is Brexit part of the wave? Maybe, I don't know. Let's just see. Metatron, 3 cards when you tell me to stop. He says stop there. Okay. Look at that card that's come out first. Partnership. 2 of Cups. Also the cups are equal. 2 equal cups. Maybe that's UK and Europe. I don't know. Let's see what the other 2 cards are. Partnership. Happiness. Sunshine. The Queen of Wands. Passion. Bottom of the deck. Security. Okay. So let's just try and interpret those for you. So we were asked about Brexit. We have got partnership, security, happiness and passion. There's probably different ways that you can interpret these cards, but I'm going to just see what wants to come through. I'm drawn to the fact that in 2 of the cards you've got the picture of 2. 2 of Cups, and here we've got 2 figures. And even the 4, I know it's 4, but it's like 2 and 2 make 4. It's not 1 is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel like it's one nation standing apart. It feels as though there's a reason why they are together. Right, Metatron, which spray shall I use for this? I'm actually going to use the Cosmos spray, which might sound a bit weird, but I actually feel like we need a much, much higher perspective on this. Because certainly if you're in the UK, myself included, we all get a bit entrenched in our behaviours and thoughts around this. So let's bring in a much higher perspective. Brexit. Been told to write the words down for some reason. Hold on a minute. What's going on here? Such a stupid thing to say. You can't see it. I never actually realised that it had exit. never realised Brexit had exited it. Okay, all right. Actually, I'm laughing, but he's actually saying there's a point he's making here. Sorry, Metatron. The fact that it was called Brexit. I'm not stupid, guys. I'm not a stupid person. And I don't know why, but I had never actually seen the exit in it. It's Brexit. It was like okay, I used to do advertising. I used to work in marketing and advertising and focus groups. And I know that one of the things that powers that be can do is they can put coded subconscious signals into an advert to make you sit up, take notice of it, buy it, persuade you. And ethically, it's a very dodgy area to get into, okay? I've been out of the whole marketing and advertising world for a good 20 years now, so I don't know what the current code of conduct is with regard to it. I think when I left, it was just starting to become more and more apparent that this coded subconscious language that you could put into advertising, where people didn't even realise actually what was happening. And this word, Brexit, it's like, I'm not saying it was foul play, but I'm saying it's like you were presented with something, you were presented with even talking about it, voting on it, where there was already a code within it which was telling you what to do, i.e. exit, leave. I'll leave it to you whether you think that is fair or not. It's not for me to say. It's just what I've been told there. That's what he's drawing my attention to. And that came from the cosmos. Right, okay, what else? Okay. Sort of getting into not racy stuff. Don't worry, I'm not getting into racy stuff. I'm getting into race issues, which is such a dodgy area to get into. But I will say this. I'm going to say this. I've got right to say it. It's my blinking page. I can say what I want. Okay, Metatron, I will say it. I'm not going to name names, but I know somebody. They are a spiritual teacher. And I won't identify them. I won't give you any clue who they are. And they are quite well respected. And they are very into the galactics cosmos. They're very into the galactics, and they're very into channeling the galactics, and they're very into, you know, talking about when is disclosure going to happen, and trying to communicate with these galactic beings, these alien beings that many people would describe them as, okay? And all well and good, hey? How inclusive is that, to be able to welcome in our galactic brothers and sisters? Fantastic. What's wrong with that? I'll tell you what's wrong with that, and what Metatron's reminded me of is this particular person, when Brexit was happening, was posting the most offensive, racist stuff. Not being able to realise that actually other countries, other communities are our brothers and sisters. Both within our island shores and outside of our island shores. And I couldn't get my head around it. I had to unfriend this person and block them, actually. I didn't want anything to do with the energy. I thought, how can you not see the contradiction of, on one hand, talking about unity consciousness and expanding that to the highest level you possibly can, to not just include people from, I don't know, Syria or Africa or wherever it is you might have a problem with, because this person did. How can you not see that? How can you not see a contradiction? That you're welcoming in the galactic brothers of light and love and all the rest of it, and how wonderful is that? But yet somebody in human physical form in another country who might need help, no, you know? bring on the BNP posters and posts. There's something to do with Brexit goes much deeper and goes much higher than just a vote in terms of does the UK, as an example, stay in the European Union? And it would be the same if Italy has its vote. It's so much deeper than that. It's actually tied into unity consciousness, and it's meant to press your buttons. It's meant to make you think about, okay, if you open up your borders, as an example, because a lot of the discussion about Brexit in this country was to do with borders, are you okay with that? Or are you not okay with that? How far will you go to help your fellow man? What about then if it becomes at the detriment of yourself? Okay, so I don't have the answers to any of this. I'm just bringing up some of the things that Spirit are presenting, which is things for us to think about. And it struck me the other day, you know, everyone, that so many of us like to think we are love and light and that we're living in 5D. And then you serve up a plate of politics and people go nuts. People start throwing their toys out of the pram if somebody disagrees with them or you have a perspective that you don't like. And there is just, I almost say we go to 2D. Not even sure it's 3D. But that's the point of it. I think that's why Metatrons wanted to bring up the discussion. Can you be at peace? Let's go back to the Canada-America thing. Can you be at peace with your neighbour? Who is your neighbour? Who is your neighbour? Let's bring in the energy of peace. Sapphire peace. I was asked yesterday on my page about did I see the end of Western civilization effectively as we know it? Is there not going to be a wave of people and different cultures that come in and just bring that to an end? And I thought about it and I thought, but hasn't it always been like that? And I'll take the UK because it's such a good example, because we're such an old country, so you can learn a lot from us. Whether you like us or not doesn't matter really, but you can learn a lot from the UK because we're an ancient country and it's pretty well documented as well. What the hell is a true Englishman anyway? The English, the Scots, the Welsh, the Irish, we've been invaded so many times by so many different cultures, by so many different nationalities, by so many different civilizations, and we've evolved with every single wave. With every wave. Let's go back to the Vikings again, I was talking about last time. It's never been a static world. It's never been a world where every country stays the same. And it's going to escalate. So yeah, there is going to be a wave, there is going to be a movement of people across the whole world. It's sort of an unstoppable force, guys. And if that pushes our buttons, or pushes your button, it shows the inner work that needs to be done there. It's almost like a measure of unity consciousness. Can you hold it? How does it feel to really be equal and united with everybody? How does it feel when there is no borders? We're back to John Lennon. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Well, let's not bring religion into it. This video is probably controversial enough as it is. Because it will have pressed some buttons. Good, I want to say. And that's Metatron, that's what he does. He presses our buttons to make us grow, to push us out of our comfort zone, to make us start to see things in a different way. So yeah, I think one of the big waves coming is political. I will pull some separate cards on Trump, just because I know some people want me to. So let's put these cards back in. And let's just see with regard to Trump. Let's put these cards back in as well. I'm going to stick to the same deck. Right, okay. Donald Trump. And the wave, let's just say the wave. I'm seeing that wall. I know it hasn't been built yet, but I'm just being told the wall can't survive against a flood of people. Anything that is man-made cannot stop a wave of energy that wishes to go where it wants to. People are energy at the end of the day. People are energy. And energy is the most powerful thing. Okay, Donald Trump generally, the wave that I've been picking up for whatever reason. Let's just see. 3 cards, Metatron, tell me when to stop. Ace of Cups, the Chariot, Manifestation, the Lovers, and I opened it at the middle as well. I've also got the card of Passion. Actually, the Queen of Wands, I don't think I read that. I can't remember when it came up. Sorry, I missed that. But anyway, she's come up again here, Queen of Wands. There's a lot of love action. I'm hearing that song from the Human League, because I'm an 80s girl. Love action. I feel your love action. Lost's just a distraction. No talking, just smoking. Joining your love action. I think he's a bit distracted with some sort of love. I think there's. Oh, come on! I mean, look at it. Passion, love, the Lovers, Chariot. So. One aspect might be, I suspect he's a man that doesn't like to be on his own, okay? I mean, he's shown himself to be somebody who enjoys the pleasures of love and everything that goes with it. I think there's a bit of that going on. Let's just see though if there's another interpretation of that, because we have got the card of Manifestation. Okay, I think he is trying to create something good at this time as well. The Magician, Master Manifester. I don't think he quite appreciates the power that he's got to manifest either for good or bad. Not bad, but you know, just... I'm not sure he realises quite all the tools. Look at this card. I'm not sure he quite realises all the tools he's actually got on his table that he can use for good, or... I'm not picking up that he wants to use them for bad. It's just that doesn't maybe necessarily understand fully what he really can do. I'm feeling a good intention with him today. I'm feeling a good intention with him, which is nice. It's nice to feel that. Let's go to Metatron. Which spray do I need for him? Air. I'm going to go to the air element. Okay? The air element. So Donald Trump. I'm seeing a hot air balloon, and the hot air balloon has gone really high in the sky, and it's like not quite sure where it's going to land. This might also be to do with his ideas, what he puts into action. Remember, he's the master manifester. I think he has a lot of passion in terms of getting things off the ground. I think he tends to choose projects and activities and programs that he's passionate about, that he is emotionally charged with. I think he's got a low boredom threshold. So some of the maybe drier subjects of government just don't interest him, and he's not really there. He's not really that present. But the things that are close to his heart that he wants to champion, for whatever reason, good or bad, what he wants to champion, he's very passionate about and he wants to get going with. That's why we've got the Chariot card here as well. But I'm seeing a hot air balloon, and I'm interpreting that more that you can send a hot air balloon up, but it very much depends upon the thermals of wind in terms of where it lands and how it lands. So it's almost like things are being sent up into the air, but without a full awareness of where they may land. Also where they may stray into, what overlaps with something else. He's got his eye very fixed on one particular thing at the moment. It may well be the situation with Korea and North Korea. Very fixed. Just seeing him looking in one direction and only one direction. It's like he can't see, he's not looking behind him. He's not looking behind him. He needs to look behind him. There's a danger if he doesn't look behind him. Behind him, there's a darker energy. In front of him, it's like there's all this activity and action, and I actually feel his energy is quite different from last time I read him. He feels like he's actually enjoying himself a bit more. I'm pleased about that. Feels like he's enjoying himself a bit more than when I last read him a couple of months ago. But it's like there is this gathering storm behind him, this darker energy behind him, which he seems to be ignoring. He seems to just be ignoring it. But it's not going away, and in fact it's starting to stick to him. And he needs to watch for that. What else? When he physically goes out of the country, it's almost as though I'm seeing people scurrying around at home in the White House. I don't know what they're doing. Sorting things out, manoeuvring. It's like when his back's turned. When his back's turned. Let's pull 2 more cards for him. Going forward, Donald Trump. He does get some form of reward, so I do think that and victory is on the bottom of the pack. So this might be linked into the North Korea, South Korea situation, because I still feel that they do quite well on their own, actually, the two leaders there, South Korean and North Korean leaders. But I do sense that he deserves some respect and reward for having ignited that. It's one hot air balloon that went up, and it's actually, it has the potential to land somewhere productive. Let's hope that carries on. So he's feeling, that's quite nice, quite like that. That seems to be linked into that situation. Anything else on Donald Trump? Ambition, yeah, there he is. King of Swords, ambitious. At a bit of a crossroads. Not quite sure where to go. Crossroads can also be to do with, I mean, the Two of Swords can be an ending of some description. They're not showing me more than that at this stage. Yeah, so, okay, that's Trump. I did say there was a third message, didn't I? So I'm going to link into that now. And I'm not actually sure what the third message is for this wave. Let's go back to water. Oh, okay. Well, they're actually wanting to talk about water. Water shortage, I'm hearing. I'm being drawn to South Africa. It's quite serious there, isn't it? What's going on? There's a real shortage of water. Probably not the only area of the world. I've also got a friend in Italy who was saying there's been a lot of rain there, above the normal level. Well, come on, I live in the UK, so we're used to rain here. It's been relatively normal here. But there's something to do with the water levels of the world, and the levels of rain. That's coming through. That's one message. How we treat the waters of the world. The respect that they need. The clean-up that needs to happen. The plastics in the ocean. King of Wands, practicality, yeah. Okay, let's just see if there's a final message. There might not be. Let's just pull 3 more cards linked into today's energy. Please, Metatron, and whatever it is I'm meant to be delivering here. Thank you. 3 cards. Final message. Generosity, I know where this is going. Happiness. Reflection, yeah. Sadness on the bottom of the deck, by the way, on this one. But I actually think the sadness is linked into potential heartache, sorrow, challenging times, basically, that are coming up in our world. And I've talked about that. But with that, there is a wave of the most beautiful love, the most beautiful generosity, the most generous, the most amazing kindness and happiness that is possible also. And it's almost like we're going to rediscover what the true meaning of happiness is. And the true meaning of happiness is actually in small deeds. It's in making other people feel happy. It's in obviously making yourself feel happy as well. But it's not in, you know, I don't know, the expensive houses and the new clothes and all of that and the fancy holidays. I mean, sure, they're lovely. Who doesn't like that? But really, true happiness, it's like, what is true happiness? Is this wave going to come of people who are helping and who are spreading joy and spreading positivity and spreading kindness and spreading love. And remember, you do that every time you also open your mouth. So it's like, think about what you write, think about what you post, think about what you say to somebody. Is it coming from love? Is it coming from kindness? Is it coming from generosity? Or is it coming from your shadow? And is it coming from fear? And is it coming from spite? Okay. And is it coming from anger? Okay. There is a wave coming where it's the 5D wave, I guess, isn't it? It's the 5D wave, but it comes on the back of some reflection and some sadness. But, you know, we live in a world of duality, so there's always going to be that. There's always going to be this balancing out of difficult times with beautiful times as well. Okay. Right, well, that was today's message. It's now 1 o'clock, so it seems like a very good time for me to stop this and go and have some lunch and send you a lot of love. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care, and I hope you found that interesting. It's always interesting what Spirit wants to bring through, so bye-bye for now.